Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, good evening.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Just give me a second. Please let me know you can see my screen. I'm sharing my screen. I'll do a brief introduction of myself. I will just get to know each other very, very soon. Okay, please let me know when you can see my screen. You can just give me a thumbs up. You can give me a yes in the chat room. I am with you either way. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Hi, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Nene, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to today's Business Analysis Masterclass. Woo, woo! Are we excited? Are we excited? I need to see the enthusiasm. I need to see the excitement. Yeah, give me a fantastic emoji. Give me fire emoji, celebration emoji, love emoji. Yes, yes, yes. Thumbs up emoji. I want to see the emojis in the chat room. Fantastic. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Oh, Max iPhone, you are on fire. Fantastic, 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 fantastic. This is amazing. Welcome to today's Business Analysis Masterclass, where we are talking about how you can begin a career in business analysis, right? If this is our first time joining a Analytics Masterclass, type 1 in the chat room. And if you have been here before and you said, oh, I can't get enough of Analytics, I want to join another masterclass, type XX in the chat room. So if this is your first time, type 1. If this is not your first time, type XX in the chat room. Okay, I see we have some new people, and we also have some returning participants. Fantastic. But we have quite a number of new people. Fantastic, 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 fantastic. It is a pleasure to have you here. Old, new, everything. It's a pleasure. Right. A brief introduction of myself. My name is Nene Ipro. I'm a finance and strategy professional who has experience using analytical tools to guide companies' decision making. Right. And today I have a very, very, very special person who will be facilitating today's masterclass. Yes, you heard it right. Facilitating. So we're not just all going to be talking and talking and talking. We're going to get busy. We're going to get down to business. But before we do, I'd like to get a sense of where you are joining from. So please, in the chat room, type your name and your location. I would like to get a sense of where you're joining from. I'm currently in the UK, so let me know where you're joining from. Oh, Abdurazak says he's joining from Ilorin. Amazing. Woo, woo. I need to see more. I need to see more. Lydia says she's from the UK. Olivia from the UK. Alex from Abuja. Rejoice from Lagos. Sorry, somebody. Yeah. Okay, Elvis from Lagos. I'm sorry, Ubong, please. I'm seeing quite a number of AIs in the chat room. Can you help me take them out? I've seen 3 AIs. Let me take them out. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yes, so I'm seeing Chris from Sapele, Delta State, Tim Tokwe from Canada. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. This is amazing. And do you know something? I'm seeing Ufoma from Israel. This is the beauty of virtual learning. I keep seeing this every single time. I think there was a time we had someone from Singapore. We've had people from Germany. We've had people from Malaysia. We've had people from literally across the world. And that is the beauty of virtual training, virtual learning. The fact that you in the comfort of your home, right, can get the same quality of training, same quality of expertise that someone in a completely different geographical location, completely different house, completely different continent is getting, right? So you are very, very much welcome to Analytics. Now, for those of us who do not know who Analytics or what Analytics is, let me give you a brief introduction of Analytics, right? Analytics is an edtech firm that is dedicated to helping Africans and people of the Black community get premium tech skills that they can use to get jobs. You know, when Africans are taking over the world, right? Sorry if you're not African, I'm sorry, but it's the honest truth. We are here to take over the world, right? And it's not just in our continent, but across. The world is a global village where what you do in one place affects somebody in another place. Your expertise in one skill set is not limited to your location. Isn't that fantastic? That is the beauty of technology. Don't worry, we are going to get into that. Right. So Tenalytics is dedicated to helping Africans across both Africa and outside Africa get these premium tech skills so they can get jobs, get these skills that can help them get good money, right? And also increase the number of Africans in the tech space. You hear a lot of your facilitators or people who are currently working in the tech space say that there are very few Africans. I'm currently doing African in my team, right? You hear people, some of us facilitators, even people you know in the UK, in Canada, in the US, you'll say, I'm the only African in my team. Esther from Saudi Arabia, I love that, right? You hear people say I'm the only African in my team. And the truth is, the jokes, the vibes, they're not, it's different, right? So the more you have Africans coming to this space, right, the more we can build a community for ourselves in this space. So Tenalytics is dedicated to helping Africans enter this space. And to do this, we have done research to say, what are the skills that are easy to learn, easy to transit, and the money is good, you know? Like Yoruba people say, oh, ni koko. Money is important. Money is important. Money is important. Test. You know this. Are we excited about money? I need to see some excitement about money in the chat room. I need to see some excitement about money. No one's excited about the money. Hey, my people, you just want to do it for free. Someone said, you entering into tech, is it for the money or for passion? Someone said, I'm passionate about making money. Yes, money is blood. Thank you very much, Esther. Yes, so we are passionate about tech in order to make money. It is together. And now one of the services we provide is the business analysis program, right? And we're going to be introducing the business analysis program today through the help of one of our amazing facilitators. Shh, don't worry, I'm going to introduce him very, very soon, right? So we have professionals from across the world, right, who have been doing this for nothing less than 5 years, right? They've been using these tools in their day-to-day, and they are professionals, they are experts in this field, right? So we have them as facilitators, as collaborators with us and in Tenalytics, and we have one of them here today that will be talking to us about business analysis, that will be walking us through the life of a business analyst, right? Tenalytics is founded by Adeza Suleiman and Ifemena April, who are data and tech professionals who are dedicated to helping Africans enter this space. Right now, business analysis, right? So business analysis. What's this motivation, right? What's this enthusiasm around business analysis, right? What is this enthusiasm? The honest truth is companies need business analysts. That is the honest truth, because every company has a project that they're working on. Every company has different stakeholders that they interact with. Every company has things that they want to succeed in. And in order to get these things, you need some certain planning skill sets. You need some certain analytical skill sets. You need some certain things, some certain capabilities within your team. And these capabilities can only be provided by business analyst. So it's in whether you're in the manufacturing space, whether in telecommunications space, whether you're in the retail space, companies need business analysts. And it has been said that over 40% of projects fail due to lack of planning. And that's one of the reasons why, that's one of the reasons why the business analyst program or the business analyst career path is booming. Companies are interested in getting people with these skill sets. Now, what are these skill sets? What's the skill sets that we need to build? Don't worry, our facilitator is going to introduce us to it, and I'm going to talk about it much later into the program, right? So are you ready to become a master business analyst? Let me see. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo. I need to see this. Oh, no. I can't bring a facilitator like this. This venue is too dull for me. No. I need to see the fire. I need to see the enthusiasm. Are we ready to become master business analysts? It's only Kemi and Elvis that are ready. Kemi and Elvis, that's like, I'll send you a private link. and you will meet up with your facilitator because I'm not. Yes. My people. So fantastic. Right now, we have Oluwaseun Fagbuli, who is a product reliability engineer with Visa, right? He has over 7 years experience, right, as an experienced business analyst, right? He is very, very proficient in what he does. And he also has a master's degree in data science from the University of Southwood. And he will be facilitating today's masterclass. Oluwaseun is an astute professional. He is good to go. So please, can we give a round of applause for Sean as he takes over for today's masterclass? I need to see the round of applause in the chat room, or else I will not allow Sean to take over. I need to don't give Sean this dull vibe. We need this enthusiasm, right? Fantastic. Aha. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Sean.
Hi, Nene.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Please let me know if you're able to see my screen.
Yes, please.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Sean, we can see your screen.
All right.
Just to note that everyone, you can unmute yourself to discuss and ask questions to Sean, but please, just to ensure the place is not rowdy, raise up your hand so that he can call you and it will be convenient for everyone. Thank you, Sean. Please take over.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, so just a brief introduction, just as Nene has introduced me. My name is Oluwaseun Fagbule. I currently work as a systems analyst / product reliability engineer with Visa Europe. That's the payments company. Systems analyst / product reliability engineer because the nomenclature has changed over a couple of months. I've got approximately 7 years experience cutting across telecoms industry. I previously worked with MTN Nigeria. I was there for about 4 years, and then I worked with Clinco UK as a business analyst consultant.
Sorry, from MTN Nigeria, we greet you, Shehu.
Okay,
yes.
Hi. I'm not sure what exactly that is, but hi. Okay. So yeah. So I currently work with Visa Europe, like I said. Yeah. So welcome to the business analysis masterclass. First, I would like to get a feel of the people that are on the call. I know we've come from diverse backgrounds. So if you're a student, if you're currently, working as a nurse, if you're working in the health sector, just to get a feel of the people on the call, because of course we've had, nurses transition into tech, into business analysis. We've got lawyers, transition into tech as well. So just to get a feel, if you're a student as well, I mean, this course is for you. If you're just, you just graduated and you're looking to get into, the business world and all of that. So, okay, Adebayo is an HR professional. That's good. Sarah is a telemarketer. Okay. All right. Teresa, health sector and students. Daniel, CSR. Okay, good. Tax consulting, Achibong. Okay. Kem is a banker. All right. That's interesting. And yeah, I would say you're in the right place. Event host, wow, that's really good. Maybe then they would hand over the hosting of the masterclass to you afterwards. Yeah, that's really interesting that we've got a diverse number of backgrounds here because I mean you are the right place because you want to transition into tech, right? Into business analysis, and I believe that business analysis is one of the easiest ways for you to transition into tech. Right. A lot of us want to, when they say tech bro, tech sees, you want to make money, there's money in tech, and all of that. And it's true, right? And a lot of us want to be, that person, want to, transition, into tech, make money, and just make something meaningful of our lives. And which is valid and good, right? So I always say business analysis is one of the easiest ways because I mean when you hear about tech, sometimes what comes to mind first is when you start to hear things about artificial intelligence, cloud computing, it looks like this very huge and vague, complex, industry, to break into, right? And yeah, those things are quite complex. It starts there about data engineering and all of those things, but yeah, business analysis is one of the easiest ways, for you to transition into tech, right? Because you really don't require so much of technical, expertise, going into tech, going into business analysis. Although, as you progress in your role as a business analyst, you start to pick up some of these competencies here and there. But transitioning into it, you really don't need much of that. So yeah, so we're gonna be talking about SWOT analysis today, right? But first, we're just going to introduce, what business analysis is, right? But before we proceed, I'd just like to get your understanding of, what business analysis is, right? I know a lot of us, have heard about business analysis. You've probably done some research. You've, before coming to this masterclass, perhaps you have a friend that's into business analysis and the likes. What do you understand to be business analysis? Does anyone want to try? What do you currently understand as business analysis? Um, no wrong answers. We are all here to learn. So whether it's right or not, just give it a go, give it a try. You just want to know what your understanding is of business analysis. Anyone wants to try? You could either put it in the chat or come to the mic. What do you understand as business analysis? I mean, you've heard of this so much. You've come to the masterclass, but what's your foundational knowledge of business analysis? Who wants to go? All right, so Achibong is saying helping businesses make informed decisions by leveraging data and broad-based analytics. Right, yeah, that's some aspect to it, right, but not entirely. You know, when you talk about leveraging data, for the most part, that's around data analysis. But yeah, it also helps, to make informed decisions. Are you saying to use technological tools to improve business processes? Yeah, that's correct. Bukola also says business solutions using data and tools. Right, fantastic. So those are valid, explanations. Kolawale is saying helping business make decisions backed by data sourced from various streams. Yeah, that's some aspects, of data of business analysis. Emmanuel is saying optimizations of process, increase revenue and cost containment for business. Interesting. Kazim is saying, okay, I can't see that anymore. Afolake is saying understanding how a business operates and identifying opportunities for improvement. All right. Oppo CP2477, you have your hand raised. Do you want to come to the mic? Just so we have someone to speak. Oppo, do you want to come to the mic? Lawrence says recommending changes and providing solutions that produce value. Yeah, that's correct. Oppo, are you there? You're talking, we can't hear you. So you probably want to unmute. So Adebayo Imufe says business analysis is based on identifying business needs and determining solutions to business problems. Yeah, fantastic. You're right on point. Alex says business analysis is a practice of enabling change in an organization. Okay, Alex, it feels as though you've seen my slide before now, and or probably you've attended a masterclass before, and because this is the definition I was going to read. Right. So fantastic explanations, and thank you very much, everyone. So yeah, we've all got different explanations or understanding or definitions of business analysis, but it's important for us to be able to define it according to the standard, right? According to the Standard Institute. So we've got the International Institute of Business Analysis, that's the IIBA, so they've defined business analysis as the practice of enabling change in an organization, right? Enabling change in an organization by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders using a set of tasks and techniques, right? So I would like you to focus, on the parts that are boldened, right? So business analysis is the practice of enabling change, right? So that means, you're enabling change, right? It's the practice of enabling change. In the world that we live in today, change is the most, there's a saying that change is the most constant thing, right? Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. I can see loads and loads of definitions. Really good. So I was saying, it's a practice of enabling change. Change is the most constant thing, right? Everyone is going to go through change, right? Organizations, businesses, they want to change. Either they want to increase revenue, they want to retain customers, they want to, add more customers to their customer base. There's some sort of change that is happening, in the world. There's some sort of change that is happening in every organization, every second, every hour, you know and even as individuals, right, we go through change, right? We go through changes, right? You're here today because you want to change sort of like your
Madam
career, right?
Essential.
You want to, Chancellor, if you could please mute, um, because you want to change your career. You want a change in your life, right? In your career, or in your finances, right? To make more money, right? So change is constant, right? So business analysis is that practice of enabling that change. Whether a business wants to, increase revenue, they want to add to their customer base and all of that. So it's the practice of enabling change in an organization. So you're doing this in an organization, right? In a corporate setting, right? By defining needs and recommending solutions, right? So defining it or identifying problems. So as a business analyst, or business analysis basically, helps to define it or define or identify needs or identify problems, right, that needs to be solved in the organization, and then recommend solutions, to those problems, right? So it's the practice of enabling change in an organization by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders, right? So whatever recommendation, whatever solution that you're recommending, to the business, to your organization, has to deliver value, right? It has to deliver value, like I said earlier, either in terms of revenue, um, either in terms of, increase the customer base or improvement in customer experience. Some sort of value has to be, added to whatever solution that you're recommending to the business, right? To stakeholders, right? So again, it's the practice of enabling change in an organization by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders, right? So your stakeholders could either be internal stakeholders or external stakeholders, or customers, right? So your external stakeholders would be customers. It could also be investors, right? Directors, people that have, shareholders in the company, right? So you're trying to deliver value to these stakeholders using a set of tasks and techniques, right? And those tasks and techniques are, one of the techniques is what you've come to learn here today. SWOT analysis, gap analysis, and there are several, other types of, other tasks and techniques in business analysis. There's process mapping, there's SDLC, there's the Oscar. There's several, types of several tasks and techniques that you would use in business analysis. So the IB has defined business analysis as the practice of enabling change, right? Because change is constant. Every organization wants to improve, they want to make more money, they want to have more customers. So you're going to, be making changes, be releasing new products, to meet that target, right? In an organization, by defining it, that's identifying the problems, either in a process or in a product, and then recommending solutions to solve that need, to solve that problem, right? But you need to make sure that the recommendations you're giving delivers value, right? Either in money, customer experience, customer retention, has to deliver value to stakeholders. So the stakeholders in this case, like I said earlier, could be the customers, could be your internal stakeholders, investors, shareholders, directors, board members, that have invested in that business, right? So you need to deliver value to them. Of course, using a set of tasks and techniques, which is what, one of those techniques is what we're going to be talking about today. So who is a business analyst? Right. So like, just taking from the definition of the IBA, the business analyst is an agent of change. Right. So you as a business analyst in that organization, you are there as an agent of change. Right. You're there to, facilitate whatever changes the business is going to go through. Right. So the business wants to, when I mean the business, I mean now the company, right? They want to, increase revenue. You need to be able to, facilitate, create new products, that will be able to, lead to that increment in, in revenue. They want to retain customers, whether you need to, create promo products, for customers to remain loyal to the brand. Whatever solution that you're bringing out as a company, right, is a change, basically, right? So you are that agent of change, in that organization. You are facilitating that change, right? Identifying that problem in that particular product or in that particular process, and then recommending the solution, to that problem, that delivers value. Secondly, you identify needs and define solutions, that will maximize value delivered by an organization to stakeholders, right? Just like I've said earlier. Thirdly, as a business analyst, you have specialized knowledge to act as a guide and lead the business through unknown or unmapped territory, right? Many times organizations don't know, they don't know what they want to do. They don't know what they want to achieve, right? Of course, they know, they know what they want to get to. They know the end goal, but how to get there is usually the problem, right? So as a business analyst, you act as that specialized, that guide to lead them through that transitioning, right? So I'll give an example. I mean, today we've got Tesla, and driverless cars, electric cars, and the likes. So say, for example, as a business, say you're working in Mercedes, for example, right? And someone from the marketing team comes to you to say, okay, we want to build, a driverless car. Let's take, for example, we don't have, Teslas that we have today, right? They want to build a driverless car. They want to build an electric car, right? And then, I mean, at that point, they know that's what they want to achieve, that's what they want to build, but how to get there is what they don't know, right? But currently in Mercedes, you guys build, petrol-powered cars, petrol-powered engines, right? Which uses petrol to run and all of that. So as a business analyst, you need to start finding out and figuring out, whether by research or speaking to subject matter experts, how do you then transition from a company that, creates petrol-powered engines, petrol-powered cars to creating electric cars, right? So some of the things that you then need to start factoring into it is, of course, for petrol-powered engine, it is fueled by petrol. If you need to, build a driverless car, an electric car, it needs to be fueled or powered by electricity, right? So you need to build that into the car. You need to start considering things like the GPS, navigation system, because it's going to be a driverless car, so these are the things that as a business analyst, you start to, consider, you start to bring to the fore, to the business. Okay, these are the things that we need to do for us to be able to transition, to make that change. Remember, you are an agent of change. For us to make that change from a company that creates or builds petrol-powered cars to building an electric car or to building electric cars, right? So you act as that guide primarily, as a business analyst. And lastly, as a business analyst, you are an interface, and this is the part, of the part of the business analysts, that I enjoy, or that that is most interesting, right? That's what I like to say, because you're an interface between the business teams and the development teams, right? So as a business analyst, you're sort of like a middleman. So you've got the business teams, right? So when I say the business teams, you have people like, departments in marketing, sales, HR, finance. Those are the people that, drive the business basically, right? So those are primarily the business teams, are the guys that will come to you to say, okay, want to build a product, so someone from marketing comes to you to say, want to build an e-commerce website for the youth, right? That's their requirements, right? So I'll start to mention some business analysis terms, like requirements gathering, and the likes. So someone from marketing, say you're working in Jumia, or you're working in Amazon, for example, and they say they want to build an e-commerce website specifically for the youth or specifically for the Gen Z, right? So you get that requirement from the business team, from the person in marketing, and then you start to break down, into bits and pieces. What do you then need, to create that website, right? That e-commerce website, for the youth, right? So you are that interface between the business team. So you take that high-level requirement, you break it down into bits and pieces. You start to ask questions, from them, using elicitation techniques. That's another technique in business analysis. Just basically you asking questions, carrying out workshops, interviews, observations, and all of those things, to understand what they actually want to achieve, right? Because they've just told you they want to build an e-commerce website. They probably won't tell you, the details, right? So you then need to start understanding, okay, for you to build an e-commerce website, of course, there has to be, a login mechanism, right? The user has to be able to log in. Before the user can log in, there has to be an account creation. The user has to create an account, right? So some of the requirements you start to break down will be, the customer shall be able to create an account, with a valid email. The customer shall be able to create an account with a valid password. The password shall have, most of us can relate to this. Whenever you want to create an account, it tells you, you should have minimum 8 characters, uppercase, lowercase, So you start to factor in all of those things. The business have no business or idea of how all of those things come about. They just know they want to build an e-commerce website. But as a business analyst, you have that understanding that, okay, before we can, create an actual e-commerce website, these are the building blocks. These are the things that we need to factor in, right? So you then pick all of these requirements, gather all of these requirements, and then you pass this on to the development team, right? For them to do the actual coding and building of that e-commerce website, right? So you can see here, you're that middleman, you're that interface. So you're interfacing between the business team, getting the requirements from them on the eye level. You break it down into bits and pieces. You ask questions. You perform your own research, as well, to get more understanding of what they want to achieve. And after you've done all of this, you pass on those requirements, to the development team or the technical team for them to build that product, which is the e-commerce website, right, that you want to build. So I say this is very interesting because you're sort of getting the best of both worlds as a business analyst, right? Because you're interfacing with the business team. So you start to understand, how the business functions, how the business operates, you start to have a feel of, an insight into the business. You're also interfacing with the technical guys, even though you are not technical, you're not, writing codes and all of those things, but you're interfacing with them. And the more you interface with them, the more you ask questions from them, the more they engage you, the more you start to pick up some technical, skills and knowledge, right? So you're getting the best of both worlds. You're understanding the business, how the business functions, how it operates, how they calculate revenue and all of those things, and then you're also getting, some technical skills as well because you're interfacing with the development teams, right? And that's what I find most interesting about business analysis. And I like to tell people that, as much as possible, because some people try to, shy away from the technical bits, especially when you start to interface with development team. I like to say to people that you should embrace that, right? Because the more you embrace that, the more you interact with development team and you pick up the skills, you can transition even from business analysis into more technical roles. It's subconscious. You start to pick up these skills subconsciously. Start to hear things like API. You start to understand, okay, there's a REST API, there's SOAP API. And all of these things are things that you can then transition, into being, if you want to be a cloud engineer, if you want to be, you can transition into other roles as you deem fit. So that's a business analyst basically. Right. So today, whilst we're going to be talking about SWOT analysis, SWOT analysis is under a technique called gap analysis in business analysis, right? So we'll be describing, what a gap analysis is, and the first steps to performing a gap analysis. We'll be talking about some use cases, some gap analysis use cases, and of course, we'll be moving into SWOT analysis as well. All right. So a gap analysis basically is a method of assessing the performance of a business unit or process to determine whether business requirements or objectives are being met. And if not, what steps should be taken to meet them. Right. So a gap analysis, like the name implies, a gap, right? There's a gap, right? So this is our potential. This is what we can be as a business, right? But this is where we currently are. Right. So say, for example, this particular business should be making, say, 20 million naira in a month, right? But they are currently making 15 million naira. So there's a gap, right? They want to get to the point where they are making 20 million naira. But at this point, all of their processes and all the products that they have, is basically allowing them to make just 15 million naira, right? What then do they need to do, right, to be able to get to the point where they're able to make 20 million naira? Right. So that's basically what a gap analysis, is used for. It's a method of assessing the performance of a business unit, right? So if it's a business unit you want to check, you want to assess, or if it's a process, right, that you want to check, maybe customer ordering process, whatever process at all, cash expense process, you want to determine whether the objectives of that process is being met. If you're meeting your target, if you're meeting your goal, if you're meeting your revenue, or not. And if you're not meeting them, you want to check what steps do I need to take, to meet, those steps for me to get to my potential. Remember, potential and, current performance. So a gap analysis may also be referred to as needs analysis, needs assessment, or need gap analysis. But for the most part, it's called, a gap analysis. Some companies will say needs analysis, but generally it's known as a gap analysis. So what are the first steps to performing a gap analysis? So the first step is to analyze the current state of your department or the process. So in BA terms, we call the current state, the as is. That's AS-IS, right? the as is state, right? The current state of the process, what currently obtains today, right? What we currently have today, that is the current state. That is the as is state, the as is process, right? So the first step to performing a gap analysis is to analyze the current state of that process, right? Or of that product. So for example, your company wants to become, the most loved in the industry, right? But the customer support team, reports that, many calls and customer interactions ends in frustration on the customer's part, right? A lot of us are familiar with this. Sometimes when you call into a customer care center, maybe you're calling into MTN or you're calling into Airtel, or maybe, any service provider at all. And then, you have to wait on ending. Sometimes 10 minutes, you're waiting on the line, and, the customer, the agent on the other end is not picking up the call. Sometimes you wait 20 minutes and, and that annoying song is being played, over and over and again. Sometimes, for the most part, it's frustrating to a lot of us. And sometimes some of us just end the call and try to figure out, find other ways or alternatives to solve that problem, right? In fact, some of us even then find another service provider that can provide that kind of service, probably as a better customer, support team, that will pick up, the call, right? So for example, your company, the company that you work with, has found themselves in that situation where, customers are frustrated when they try to call into the customer, the customer care center and all of that, and they wait, on ending minutes before the call is picked, right? That is the current state of that process, right? Because customers, maybe they have to wait 20 minutes, before their call is answered. That's the current state, right? So an analysis of that current state would lead, to finding the root cause and the underlying problems. So you want to check, is it that we don't have enough agents, to pick up the calls? Do we need to implement, some sort of automation, maybe create build a chatbot system, all of those things. But you need to analyze the current state, right? The assist state, right? Why do we have, customers waiting 20 minutes before their calls, are being answered? And you want to try to find the root cause. You want to get to the underlying problem, because if you don't do that, right, most of your customers will then, move to your competition. And most businesses, most companies won't want that, right? Because the more your customers leave, the more, you're losing revenue. The more customers you have, the more revenue you're likely to have, right? So the first step to performing a gap analysis is, of course, to analyze the current state of that process, right? What is the problem, statement at this point in time? Now, the second step is to identify the ideal future state, right? So where do you want to be? What is your potential? What do you want to get to? Right. So the ideal future state, in this example that I've given, is to, say for example, a customer calls in and under 2 minutes or 5 minutes, their call is answered. That is the ideal future state that we want to be in as a business, as a company, right? The customer calls in, 1 minute, 2 minutes, their call is answered, the customer is happy, their issue is resolved, the customer stays with us, stays with the company. That is the ideal future state. Remember, the as is that customer waits, maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes before their call is answered. The potential, the future state, which is the to be, right? So I've explained the as is as the current state, what currently obtains today, right? The to be, TOIFE, to be, right? The to be state, the ideal future state is that, want to have customers calling and under 2 minutes or 5 minutes, the customer's call is answered and the customer is happy, the customer stays with us. That is the ideal future state, right? So once you have that big picture figured out and you understand how your team or, organization currently functions, then you need to become, idealistic. Where would you like to be, right? You want to get to the point, where customers are able to call in and in 2 minutes, 5 minutes, their calls are answered, right? So you want to check where would you like to be, right? What's happening, that's what's not happening that should be happening, right? Do we need to, create a chatbot system? Do we need to create more channels, for example, maybe, so our customers can maybe create a channel on Instagram or on Twitter, or maybe create a chatbot? A lot of us are familiar with chatbots. When you go on the website, Deborah, can you mute, please? All right, just gonna mute her. All right. So we're familiar with chatbots, so those are different channels that you can create, to ease, the queue on your customer service line, right? So you want to identify that ideal future state. What, where would we like to be, right? And what are the things that should be happening that are not happening? That is you identifying the to be, right? The ideal future state. Now, the third step, to performing a gap analysis is, of course, then to identify the gaps. Right, so you've put together the as is, you put together the to be, then bringing this together, would help you be able to identify what the actual gaps are, right? So putting the first two steps together exposes, what's missing between your performance and your potential, right? So the performance today is that, your customers are waiting 20 minutes for their calls are answered. The potential is that we can have customers calling and under 2 minutes and 5 minutes, their calls can be answered, right? Then what are the gaps, right? So the gaps is, perhaps you've got limited number of agents that are answering, that are attending to customers. Perhaps you've got limited channels that customers can reach out to engage customers and have and resolve customer queries. So those are the gaps that you then start to find out, based on your analysis of the as is, which is the current state, and the to be, right, which is the future state, right? So you need to put this together to identify the gaps, right? So now that you've done that, it's the time to evaluate those gaps and get to the roots, of that problem. Because this involves getting to the details of why you're not as successful as you want to be. It could be a hiring problem, like I said. Maybe you've got limited agents, or a training problem. Maybe the agents are not, they've not got the expertise, to attend to customers, and they take, maybe an agent spends 30 minutes on average with a customer, and this is primarily because that they don't have the expertise, right? Or if it's sources problem, right? This is where you then dig in to find out what the gap is, what the actual problem, is. And then, of course, the last step, which is the fourth step, after you've identified those gaps, is there for you to create, a plan and implement that plan, plan to bridge that gap. You've identified the gaps, right? You then need to create a plan to implement, that gap, right? To bridge that gap, basically. So once you've identified the existing gaps and you've evaluated how they're keeping you or your business or your company from achieving the goals, right? Then what needs to happen, right? You then need to develop, action points or action items. And this is the point where, as a business analyst, you then start to analyze, okay, we need to create a chatbot, for example, right? So what are the things that we need to do to create a chatbot? You then need to carry out, analysis of the things that you require to create a chatbot. There has to be an artificial intelligence mechanism, towards a knowledge base, at the back end. You need to feed this knowledge base engine, with information about your product, about your company, so that when a customer is reaching out to that chatbot, the chatbot, which is a computer, in itself, can respond according to the knowledge that you fed into it, right? That's just the example that I'm giving. So that is when you then start to build that product, and then you build that product, and that product, is launched to the market, is successful, and then you find that, okay, customers are no longer having to wait 20 minutes or 15 minutes because you've created additional channels, right, for the customers to engage, to solve their problems. They don't have to call in, and then you've kind of reduced the queue on the customer service line, basically, right? In that way, that has added value. Remember, as a business analyst, whatever solution you're recommending has to deliver value. It has to add value, right? So you've added value in that way. So the first step, basically, like I said, analyze the current state, which is the as is. What is the current state of this process? What is the challenge, right? Customers are having to wait 20 minutes before their calls are answered. It's frustrating to the customers, and some of those customers can leave. The ideal future state we want to get to is, to have, get to the point where under 2 minutes, 3, 4, 5 minutes, customers' queries are answered. The customer is happy. The customer is not leaving. The customer stays with our company. What are the gaps? So the gaps that you've identified based on the analysis of your as is and your to be is that, maybe you've got limited agents, you've got limited channels, so you need to create more channels, all of that. And of course, you need to create that plan, to bridge that gap. That is when you then start to create, maybe you create a new channel, create a chatbot, so that customers can, some customers can go there to have their issues resolved and all of that. So those are the steps. Deborah, do you want to mute, please? All right. If you have a question, you could just raise your hand and then you can come to the mic and we'll have your question. All right, so we're going to be looking at some use cases for gap analysis. So I see some people, when I was asking for background, someone said they were in construction. As a business analyst, you can work in any industry, and that is the beauty of business analysis. You don't have to necessarily work in telecoms, or work in financial services. You can work in those places, but of course you can work in real estate. You can work in health. We've got, a lot of our students, even before finishing the course itself, they've gotten jobs as business analysts in NHS, right? That's the National Health Service in the UK. Of course, it's got its digital arm, right? So NHS Digital, right? So as a business analyst, whatever industry that you find yourself working in, you should know that you're going to be working in the technology department of that company. So it could be in real estate, but that real estate company has got to have, you know, a tech department, right? It could be in health, but that health company or that health, you know, they've got to. It could be in law, right? I saw some lawyers on the call as well. You know, you're going to be working, you know, in the tech department, you know, of whatever company or whatever industry that you're going to be working in, right? So you can work as a business analyst in any industry, right? So one of the use cases we'll be looking at, you know, for gap analysis is in real estate, right? So the use cases, you know, is increasing real estate sales. So John is a real estate agent, right, who wants to increase the sales, right? So we're going to be looking at, you know, following the steps of performing a gap analysis, right? Like I've explained in this use case for John, right? So John is a real estate agent who wants to increase the sales. So what is the current state of John's business, right? So it's going to perform, you know, the current state, right? An analysis of the current state. So what did I mention the current state to be in the BA term? Anybody? If you're going to see, you know, I want to analyze the current states.
As is.
The as
As
is.
is.
Yeah, fantastic. Right.
As
The
is.
as is. So John is going to analyze his as is states, right? What currently obtains for him. Right. So John starts by assessing his current annual sales. So currently John is making $1 million in property sales. That is the current state, you know, for John. Right. Now, John wants to check, okay, what is my potential? What is my future state? He wants to increase the sales by 20% this year. Right. So a lot of us, especially at the beginning of the year, a lot of companies, a lot of even us as individuals, right, we do what we call, you know, New Year resolution, right? And it's the same way, you know, people do New Year resolution and all of this. Okay, I'm going to achieve this. I'm going to read 20 books in a year. The same thing that companies do, right, at the beginning of the financial year, right? They want to, you know, in fact, even before the beginning of the year, I'm sure, I mean, now we're moving into the last quarter of the year. A lot of companies are now going into, you know, meetings, performing gap analysis to say, okay, next year, want to make more money, you know, want to have more customers. What are the things that we need to do? What are the gaps currently? So they're starting to analyze their current state as per, you know, this year, you know, so that they can meet the future state for next year. Right. So typically at the start of the year, you know, a lot of companies have set goals, you know, must, you know, be a trillion naira company, you know, and all of those things. Gap analysis is one of the tools, you know, that would be used for that, right? So his future states, John wants to increase the sales by 20%, you know, let's say this year, the beginning, let's say 2024, right? Which is a smart goal, right? Of $1.2 million in property sales, right? So we're all familiar with, you know, smart goals, you know, just basically setting a smart goal, right? Which your goals should be specific, measurable, measurable, should be accountable, should be realistic, it should be time bound, right? So it's basically setting a smart goal, right, to increase the sales by 20%, right, in the new year, in the new financial year. So in identifying the gaps, so remember, we are following the 4 steps of performing the gap analysis. First, analyzing your current state, which is the as is. The second, I think, as Benjamin has mentioned, is the future state, which is the to be, right? So John wants to make, you know, $1.2 million in property sales, you know, in the new year, right? That is his to be, that is the future state he wants to get to. So in identifying that gaps, John starts to ask questions around, okay, why am I not selling more? Right. So John realizes that he's not having enough conversations with buyers and needs to expose himself to more people in the housing market. Right. So maybe today John just, you know, speaks to a few people, maybe friends and families, you know, to invest in real estate and all of that. So he discovered that for me to be able to increase my sales, you know, by 20%, and I mean the limitation I have currently is that I don't speak to enough people, you know, to invest or to buy, you know, real estate. So in bridging that gap, right, what John does is he commits to joining 2 new networking groups that meet monthly, right, so that he can, you know, expand his reach and speak to more people, you know, so that those people will be interested in investing in real estate and all of that. Right. So in doing so, John is able to talk to more people and expand his network of potential buyers, thus creating a solid game plan, you know, for success. So in a way, John has bridged, you know, that gap. Right. So yeah, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Yeah. So he has created, you know, a bridge, right? Basically to bridge that gap, right? So John is able to meet his to be, his future state. Now, the second use case we'll be looking at is, improving tax returns efficiency, right? So this is Jessica, right? Jessica runs a tax filing office, right? And she feels that her staff, are not very efficient in doing, tax returns, right? Which is injuring bottom line performance. So, I mean, she's the CEO of the company, but the company, the staff are not, they're not efficient in doing those tax returns. So what she does is she analyzes our current state, right, which is the assist, right? So what is the current state of tax returns in Jessica's office? The average time of our staff to complete the tax return is 55 minutes. Jessica then compares this to other tax filing offices, where their average time is 35 minutes per return. Right. So you can see here that the current state, the assist for Jessica or for the companies that, the staff on the average, complete a tax return in 55 minutes. However, other companies are completing it, in 35 minutes, right? There's a gap of 20 minutes right there. So what is the future state? What is the ideal state, right? So again, Jessica sets a smart goal of reducing the tax return preparation time to 35 minutes. So she wants to be at par, with other companies, to make sure that, we don't, complete tax filing in 55 minutes, that we complete it in 35 minutes. That is the ideal future state. That is the to be that she wants to get to for a company, right? So then she starts to ask questions, to identify the gaps, right? So she starts to ask her staff, why our staff takes so much longer than other offices. Then she realizes that, they are not utilizing all the software tools, that are available to them, that would expedite, each filing, right? So yeah, maybe they've been, they've got several tools, several software tools, to use to identify, to use to file, the tax returns, but the staff are not using those tools. They're not using those software tools that are available to them, and that is leading them to creating or to completing the tax return in 55 minutes, right? So in bridging that gap, Jenica finds out, okay, perhaps the staff are not skilled, or they don't have enough training, in using those tools that are available to them. So what she then decides to do, is to implement a training program, that will teach our staff how to use those resources that are available to them, to shorten the time to prepare each return, right? So in bridging that gap, she's able to meet, a future state goal, of a preparation of tax return preparation time of 35 minutes. This is basically our performing a gap analysis, for our business or for a process, right? So those are the two use cases we'll be looking at. But then we then move to SWOT analysis, right? Which is, what we are going to, what is the core of this masterclass, right? But SWOT analysis, like I've said, is one of the tools that you under gap analysis, right? So there are several tools that you use under gap analysis. We've got SWOT analysis, we've got PESU, as well. So those are We've got Fishbone as well, which we'll be discussing as well. But SWOT analysis is one of the tools that is used in gap analysis. And what does SWOT stand for? A couple of us will be familiar with this already, right? So basically, it stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? And I mean, it's an acronym, right? So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? So SWOT analysis would help you determine, or help your organization determine, the internal and external threats, to your organization, and see where and how you stand out against the competition, right? So it's going to help you determine the internal and external threats, to your organization, and see where and how you stand against the competition, right? So in strengths, under strengths, you've got strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? So under strengths, you start to ask questions like, what are the things that we do well as a business, right? As an organization, right? What are the things that we do well, right? What's unique about our organization, right? Those are the strengths, you want to start identifying the strengths of your organization, right? So the use case that we've got here, it's a customer service, right? So it says, our customer service, so say the company you work for, so the customer service is world class compared to other competitors, right? Seeing as, the company has got an NPS score of 90, right, which is quite high. So that's 90%, 90 out of 100. So NPS stands for Net Promoter Score, right? So Net Promoter Score basically, it's a score that is, that's typically it's a measure of, the how customers feel about your service, right? And if they are likely to recommend that service to other customers, right? A lot of us, when you maybe call into a customer care center, or you buy a product, you get some service at the end of the day, that tells you, how likely are you to, to recommend the service to someone else, or tell you, okay, how do you feel about the service? They either put an emoji, are you sad or happy? Those are feedback mechanisms, that feeds back into NPS, right? In Net Promoter Score, right? In telecoms, it's a huge, measure of how customers feel about the service, right? So, Airtel would have its own Net Promoter Score, MTN would have its own, and it's graded, right? So either you are number one in the industry, you're number two, or you're number three, or you're number four. Right. So currently, for this company, their strength is that, they've got, world-class customer service, right? And their NPS score is 90%, right? So they're really up there, right? That's the strength, for that company. But what's their weakness, right? So part of the weakness is they start to ask questions around, what are the things that can be improved, right? What are the things that we can improve on, as a business? What resources could improve our performance, right? So for this e-commerce, you remember I was talking about, I give an example of an e-commerce company, of an e-commerce website, that you want to build, for your company. So they're saying that, our website visibility is low, right, due to our lack of marketing budget, which with transactions continuing to decrease, right? So a lot of us, when you're on Instagram, for example, when you're on maybe Facebook, you get some ads, right? Asking you to buy something, that's visibility, right? So a lot of companies, would throw those ads at you. Sometimes they are targeted at, advertisements to you, so that you can buy products, from them, right? So they're saying that, okay, one of our weaknesses is that, we've got a low, website visibility. Customers can't, they don't get to see our website, they don't get to visit our website, because of that, our transactions, continue to decrease, because of course the customers don't know about your website, customers don't know about your e-commerce company. Of course they won't do business with you, they won't, transact with you. So that's one of the weaknesses that, they've been able to identify. But again, what are the opportunities, right? So they want to identify, okay, what are the opportunities that we have, in this space, right? Even though, we've identified our weakness, right? So they're going to check, are there market gaps in our services, right? What are our goals, for this year, right? So they're saying, okay, one of the opportunities that we have, is to improve, our e-commerce visibility. And for us to do that, we need to run ads maybe on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. That's an opportunity for them. So it's something that they're currently not doing at the moment, right? However, they've seen other e-commerce companies do that, and then, I mean, those guys are making, huge, turnover and revenue and all of those things. So they're saying this is an opportunity for us as a business as well, right? For us to be able to, work on this weakness, which is our e-commerce visibility, we need to improve, that visibility basically. And in doing that, we need to be able to run, ads on YouTube, on Facebook, and Instagram. That's an opportunity that we need to latch on, right? So they've identified the strengths, they've identified the weaknesses, they've identified the opportunities. Now, what are the threats, right? Because there are going to be threats, right? There's always threats to any business, right? There's always a competition, or someone trying to be better, right? So they're going to be checking, are there industry changes, right? And what new market trends, are on the horizon, right? So one of the threats that, these guys have identified is that is a new competition, coming to the market, right? So with a new e-commerce competitor set to launch within the next month, we could see a decline in customers, right? So that's a threat. So a new competition is coming. So I mean, I always give an example. Say for example, Amazon decides, to launch in Nigeria, for example. Jumia already, they're already, as they are right now, they're already, finding ways to mitigate that threat, because it's a possibility. Amazon can decide, okay, we're going to launch, our e-commerce. For a lot of us that, are based in Nigeria, you typically want to shop, because Amazon has got variety of items, right? So you want to shop, from Amazon, and then it takes, it got high delivery fees and all of those things. So Amazon could just decide, okay, why don't we launch an operation in Nigeria, right? In launching that operation in Nigeria is going to be a threat to the existing e-commerce, companies such as Jumia and Konga, and the likes. And I'm sure, as they are currently, they are not oblivious of this threat. They know that this is, a valid threat, that is likely to happen, either sooner or later. So a threat, for this company is a new competition. So if a new e-commerce company comes up, to launch, then, I mean, if your services are not good, they're probably going to, move, customers are going to move, to that new competition, right? And then you're going to, reduce, have reduced transactions, and sales, right? So that's a threat, and every organization is aware, of that threat. When SpaceX was going to launch in Nigeria, when Elon Musk was going to launch that, I mean, all the telecoms industries, all the telecoms company were, I mean, they were on their toes, right? Because this was going to be a threat, to telecoms, right? To traditional telecoms, right? Where you buy data and all of that. And these guys were coming to say, okay, just launch, just put this stuff on your ceiling, and then you can have, free unlimited internet and all of those things. I mean, at that point, all of the telecoms company were aware of that threat, and they came up with ways, to sort of mitigate that threat. And in a way, I would say they've been successful so far, because I mean, I don't know how many people still use, the stuff by Elon Musk anymore, right? Especially in Nigeria, right? So every organization has to be able to perform a SWOT analysis, and you as a business analyst, you need to be there, to ask these questions to identify what the strengths, of your organization is, what the weaknesses are, so that, I mean, you need to be aware of your weakness so that you can, fill that gap, right? And then what the opportunities are, right, for you to be able to overcome those weaknesses, and of course the threats, right? Because you need to be aware of the threats so that you can mitigate against those threats, right? So that's basically SWOT analysis, right? So we're talking about the fishbone diagram again. That's another tool used in gap analysis. This is sort of like extra or Jira, right? Because we're supposed to just talk about SWOT analysis in this masterclass, but we're going to talk about fishbone diagram, quickly as well. So fishbone diagram, it's named for its distinctive shape, right? It's also known, distinctive shape in the sense that it looks like a fish, right? So as you can see here, this looks like a fish. It's like the head of the fish, and then you've got the fins here and there. There should be a tail here, but that can be ignored, right? So it's known as a fish diagram. It's also known as a Shikawa, right, which is named after the person that came up with this concept. It's also known as the cause and effects, right? The cause and effects diagram, or the cause and effect tool, right? Because for every effect that you find in an organization, right, for every effect that you find in a process, there is a possible cause to it, right? So the effect that I gave earlier on, when I was giving that example was, customers are having to wait 20 minutes, right, before their calls are answered. That's the effect that you can see. That's the effect that you can feel, right? But to that particular effect, right, there's a cost to it, right? So the cost, could be that, you've got limited agents, you've got limited channels for customers to engage with, so it's called a cause and effects, diagram, or herringbone diagrams. I think that's basically the type of fish, for this particular fish, right? So it's used to explore the possible causes of a root problem, right, as part of, gap analysis. So you want to explore the possible cause, of a root problem, right? So you want to check, the causes to that particular effect, right? So like I explained, the effects that you can see typically is that, customers having to wait, 20 minutes before their calls can be answered or their queries can be resolved. That's the effect, right? But you want to find what the causes are, because you can't just treat the effect. You can't, I mean, the effect is the effect, right? For you to treat that effect, for you to be able to resolve that effect, you need to be able to, treat the causes, right? It's the causes that you can, find solutions to, right? So that the effect will no longer be felt. Right. So for a fishbone diagram, the causes of a root problem are typically categorized into 6, right? So we've got what we called, the 6 M's framework for a root cause, right? So the first we've got, is manpower, right? The people, right? So it refers to the physical or mind or knowledge work of the personnel, right? So what the fishbone diagram does for you, I call it fishbone diagram, or a cause and effects diagram, right? And what it does for you is it points you to each of these categories, right? These 6 categories. It gives you that framework to say, you want to get to the root cause of this problem, right? You want to get to the root cause of where the customers are, waiting 20 minutes before their queries are answered or resolved. For you to get to that root cause, you need to ask, you need to look at some basic categories, and start to ask questions and start to, sort of like dig deeper, right? Dive, do a deep dive into those categories for you to be able to find what the possible, root causes are. So it's asking you, have you looked at, the manpower or the people that, operate or use this particular process, right? So have you looked at the agents, for example, right? Have they got the right training or the right expertise, and all of those things, and it's in you asking these questions, as a business analyst before you can then find, what the actual actual problem is, or what the root cause is, right? So the first category, in the 6M's framework for root cause is, of course, the manpower, the people, right? You need to dig deep, into the people to ask questions and find out, if there's any possible problem or cause, as a result of the people. And of course, the method, right? You want to check, the production process, right? Or the way the process is being run, right? Maybe when a customer calls in and then the agent, picks up the phone at the end of the day, the agent still needs to confirm the customer's details, and that's adding to the time the customer has to spend on the line. You're basically, trying to identify, the methods, that are used as part of that process. And of course, the machine or the equipment, right? So you want to check the equipment that are used, refers to all equipment, tools, facilities that are used, for the production. You want to check the material, right? This refers to, the raw materials that are used, either for the production or the final product. Number 5 is the medium. You want to check the environment, right? Effect of, unpredictable environmental factors, such as weather, floods, or humidity. Is the environment, correct, or is it right, for the people that are working in that environment, right? The customer agents, are they conducive, in the environment? Is it allowing them to work properly and effectively or efficiently as they should be working, right? Number 6 is the measurements, right? So it refers to inspections and physical measurements, such as volume or temperature. So typically most organizations will have processes, standards and procedures, right? So you want to check, is there a standard, right? Is there a standard, that you've held your agents in the example that I've given, that you've held your agents to say, when you pick a customer's call, you need to be able to complete that call within 5 minutes. You shouldn't, ask, some questions. There should be a standard, right? Some sort of measurement, right? So those are the 6 categories that, a fishbone diagram has made available, right, in the 6M's framework, to say, have you looked at, each of these categories for you to find the causes to that effect. Remember, the effect that we're looking at in the example I gave is the customers having to wait 20 minutes, right? So have you looked at the people, that's the agents, that are having to use this process? Have you looked at the methods that they use? Have you looked at the equipment, the machine? Have you looked at the materials? Have you looked at the environment? Have you looked at the measurement? It's in you asking all of these questions that you can then figure out, what the actual issue is, right? We're going to do a use case quickly, for a fishbone diagram, right? So an operations manager at an assembly line at Coca-Cola, a lot of us are familiar with Coca-Cola, right? They produce, Coke and Fanta, and all of those things, right? So say, for example, you work, as a business analyst in Coca-Cola, right? So an operations manager at an assembly line at Coca-Cola has noticed, that production is not meeting expectations, right? And after completing a gap analysis, they find the root cause to be an issue with some machinery. Now they know exactly what to fix, to improve production, right? So they've noticed that production is not meeting expectations. So say, for example, they've got a target to produce, say, 5,000 cartons of Coca-Cola maybe every month, or let's say 10,000 cartons, right? But at the moment, they're only able to produce 7,000, right? So their as is at the moment, right, is 7,000 that they are producing, 7,000 cartons. But their potential, their ideal future state, right, is for them to be able to produce 10,000 cartons of Coke, every month, right? So they need to be able to come to the root cause. Why are we, underperforming, basically? Because, I mean, the less you're producing, the less revenue you're making, because that means probably the demand is more than the supply, right? So maybe customers want more Coca-Cola, but by the 3rd week in the month, customers are not able to buy Coca-Cola, then they start to buy Biggie Cola, all those other lower brands of cola and all of those things, right? So it's a huge problem, right, for this organization, right? And this is a real, a real case, case study, right? So the effects that they are seeing currently is assembly line process inefficiencies, right? Remember I said, a fishbone diagram is basically a cause and effect, diagram, a cause and effect analysis. So you're able to see the effects, right? So the effects they are seeing currently is, assembly line process inefficiency, which is leading to them producing 7,000 cartons instead of 10,000 cartons that they should be producing. Right. So for some of us that are not familiar with assembly lines, I've had a privilege of, visiting, especially Coca-Cola assembly line. I've got a friend that works there. So an assembly line basically is, if when all of this Coke or this Coca-Cola is being produced, right, you'd have what they call a line, right, in the production area, right. So the Coca-Cola would move, the bottles, right, will move from one point to the other. So say there's a machine at this point that would fill in the liquid into the bottle, right? It then moves, to another point. Most of all of these processes are automated. It then moves to another point, maybe where the cover, right, the cap of that Coca-Cola is put on the bottle, right? It then moves on to another point, maybe where the label is, wrapped around it, and then moves on to another point, another assembly point, where that, the Coca-Cola is put into maybe 12, packaging, and then there's a nylon that is wrapped around it, that's an assembly line, right? From the point where, the liquid is being filled in, the bottles will move one after the other, the liquid is being filled in, the cover or the cap is being, is put on it, it moves on to the next point where it is being labeled, that's an assembly line, basically. So these guys are saying that in this particular assembly line, we've got, some inefficiencies, right? So for them to be able to find out, what the possible inefficiencies are, what the possible causes are, to this inefficiency, they've employed, the fishbone diagram, the cause and effect, right? So they are going into each of these categories that we've mentioned, right? So they're looking at the people, for example, to say, okay, the guys that are working in this assembly line, right? Have they got the expertise, to use these machines, right? That is being that they use, right? Have they got the expertise, right, in doing that, right? Have they got the training, right? So you start to ask, all of these questions. So it's in you asking these questions, that you then start to find out, oh, the staff, I mean, they've not got the expertise, and that is why this is slowing down the process. That is why we're not making, we're not meeting up to the 10,000 cartons that we should be making, because they don't have the expertise. And if you don't have the expertise, a particular activity that's meant to take you, say, 10 minutes is probably going to take you 20 minutes because you don't have the expertise. You struggle, around it, right? So they're looking at the people to say, okay, this particular category, these guys have not got the expertise, they've not got the training, or maybe they've got, limited staff, under this category, they've been able to find out possible causes that is leading to this effect. Remember, a fishbone diagram is a cause and effects, right? This is the effects that they can see. And now, these are the causes, right? Based on each of these categories that has been given to us as a standard for the fishbone diagram. Now they move on to the equipment, right? So they're checking, the equipment that we use in this assembly line, asking questions, are they all, automated, right? So maybe as part of that, there are some machines that are still manual, right? So those are the things that you then start to, as a business analyst, you then start to, note down to say, okay, these are the gaps, right? This particular, for this particular assembly line, we've got two machines that are, manual, that we then need to automate, right, to make the process faster so that we can meet up, with our goal. Augustina, you have your hand raised. Do you have a question?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Please, I want to know the cause and effect. Is
Yeah.
it backwards to forward? I thought the assembly line is the head of the fish, or is
Yeah.
that the tail of the fish?
No. So the assembly line is the head of the fish, which is the effect, right?
Okay.
But typically you want to start, with the people, right? With, the closest to the effects, right? So the people are the ones that use, I mean, they are the ones you can interact with, mostly, right? So typically you want to start with what is, closest to the effect, right? And that is the people, right? Because the people can also give you information about the equipment, about the medium, about the inspection, about the materials, about the method, right? So you typically want to start with what is closest to the effect. Is it clear?
Yes, it's clear. Thank you.
All right. So you then move on, to the equipment. They're asking, okay, are these processes automated? Is this machine automated? So you start to note down, all of these gaps, right? As a business analyst, okay, we've got, out of 8 machines that we've got, just 5 of them are automated, 3 of them are manual. We need to, automate these other 3 machines so that, it can increase or improve, the process, the assembly line process, and then we can start to meet up with our target of 10,000 cartons, right? Perhaps there's a machine misuse, maybe, some staff are using, the wrong machine for something else, those are things that you then start to. So what the fishbone diagram does for you is it points you to each of these categories to say, look into this category, look into this particular point, this particular box, and dig deeper, start to ask questions, and then from there you can, unearth, you can, bring out what the actual issues are. And then you look at method, do they have to stand long hours, standing position? Do they have to stand long hours? Because of course, if they stand long hours, they're going to get tired at the end of the day, and then they will slow down, on moving on with the assembly line, So those are the method, right? Start to check the material, right? So the quality of resources, for example, right? Are the materials, are they quality enough, right? So say, take for example, the bottle, right, that is being used, as part of the production of Coca-Cola, right? So say for example, it gets to the point where, you remember the assembly line description that I gave, right? So say it has gotten to the assembly point where the liquid has to be filled, into the bottle, right? And let's say out of 10 bottles, that are passed through that particular assembly line, let's say three out of those 10 bottles, basically burst, right, or explodes, right, because of the pressure coming out from that liquid. Remember, it's a machine. The liquid will be coming out, from the machine, going into the plastic bottle, and then moving on to the next phase. So out of 10 plastic bottles that have been passed, into that point, let's say 3 of them explodes because of the pressure. That means the plastic bottle couldn't withstand the pressure of that particular, of the liquid, right? So you start to ask, questions, and that's probably going to be, one of the things why, because you out of 10 bottles, you've lost 3 bottles, that's going to, of course, lead to you not being able to meet 10,000 cartons while you're, meeting, 7,000, you're producing 7,000 cartons, right? So you start to check this particular, resource, is this particular material, is it quality enough, right? In this case, you then start to reach out, because most often than not, those bottles, Coca-Cola, for example, won't produce their own bottles. They've got suppliers or vendors that would, make those bottles, produce those bottles, and supply to them. They just have to, make the mixture of the Coca-Cola and then fill it into the bottles. So in this case, you've noted that, okay, we've got issues with, the material that is being used, and then you probably want to speak with the vendors to say, okay, guys, out of 10 bottles, 3 or 4 of them, are exploding. We need to check, the quality of your bottles, if they are, up to standard, and all of those things. So that's, you checking the materials, you going into that category and asking questions and checking, right? Do we have issues with the materials? Are they damaged? Are they worn? And that brings us to inspection, right? Which is the measurements, right? So if peradventure, if the inspection of those bottles, right, had been done at the beginning, right, then there won't be, an issue with the material, right? Because they would have checked at this point. Maybe they would have put a standard to say, for every bottles that come, into the plant, for us to fill in, probably, want to test them, maybe put them through a stress test, or maybe the supplier should provide a report, to confirm that all of the bottles meets a standard, so there has to be a standard, right? A measurable standard, right, to say these, materials are quality enough, right? So if that has been done in the first instance, then that problem I just described here, of 3 bottles out of 10 bottles, exploding won't happen at this point, because there's a standard that has been put in place, right? So when you check this and then you find out, okay, we've got, quality issues with the materials, with the bottles, you then go to inspection. So, oh, the reason why we've actually got those problems is because we've got no standards. There's no standard to check, right? We just get the product from the supplier. They just supply those bottles, plastic bottles to us, and then we start to use, right? And then that at this point you then need to start introducing, standards, right, to make sure that the quality of the materials you're getting from the suppliers, are quality enough, right? And then you check the medium as well, is there workspace clothing, is there no space for them to move, from here to there, which can slow them down. Maybe there are different machines, here and there, that can slow down the movement of staff from here to from here to there, right? So you want to check all of those things. Augustina, you've got your hand raised as well. Do you have a question?
Please, oh, all this framework inside one fish, the
Yeah.
fish must be really big. Oh, is it
Yeah.
Titus or is it Kote?
Yeah.
Because I
So
need to know.
yeah, so I think it's called the herringbone fish. Yeah, that's a type of fish, right? They've got several types of fish, right? So it's a herringbone fish, because I think it's got different types of bones. I think it's got one of the largest number of bones that you would find in a fish, right? I think it's got one of the largest, right? I know, for those of us in Nigeria, we know we know shower to be, you know, the shower fish to be one of the fishes that you find a lot of bones, but I think every bone has more bones, you know, and that's why it's been used to depict this, right? Because this basically is depicting, you know, the fins and the bones that you would find, you know, to say you can I mean, going into each of these categories, you can find, you know, several causes that are leading to this particular effect. You can, you know, the more you ask questions, the more you dig into each of these categories, the more you find the causes that, you know, basically going to be leading to these effects, right? So you need to be able to fix those effects. Augustine, have I answered your question? Just before I
Yeah,
continue.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, you have.
All
It
right.
was just to lighten the
Yeah.
mood
Yeah.
because it's very serious in here.
Yeah. Thanks for that. So it's you just, you know, going into each of these categories and checking, you know, that, you know, asking questions and, you know, checking the processes. You know, you check the people, you know, have they got the expertise, have they got the training, you know, to use the machines or to use, you know, whatever is being used in that process. You know, if they've not, then you mark, you know, you highlight that as a gap, right? That's a possible gap, right? Which you then need to, you know, like we said, create an action plan, you know, for you to mitigate, you know, to bridge that gap, right? Basically. You look at the equipment, you know, are they automated? Is there a machine misuse? You look at the method, you look at the material, you know, the quality of the resources, you look at the medium, is there workspace cluttering? You look at the inspection, you know, are there measurable standards that you need to, yeah, so thanks for that. I think Lawa just put an airy bone fish into the chat. You can see the number of bones, you know, that it has. It's quite a lot, right? Thanks for that, Lawa Kolawole. So yeah, so that's what a fishbone. So it's basically a cause and effect, you know, diagram. So this is the effects that you're seeing that they are seeing at the moment, right? They are having assembly line process inefficiencies in Coca-Cola, right? And that is leading them, you know, making them to produce 7,000 cartons instead of producing 10,000 cartons, which is their to be, which is their potential, their ideal future state, where they want to get to, you know, so they can make more money, right? But they are having these inefficiencies at the moment, but for them to be able to identify, you know, what is leading to this effect, right? They need to go to find out the causes, and, you know, the fishbone diagram, the cause and effect diagram or process has, you know, directed us into this, you know, this framework. It's giving us this framework, these methods, you know, to look into each of these categories and start to ask, you know, those questions, you know, and then from asking those questions, from, you know, diving deep, you know, and digging deep into those categories, you're able to unearth and you're able to, you know, uncover what the possible, you know, causes or gaps are to that is basically leading to that effect. Yeah, so that's where we're going to be stopping in this masterclass. We're going to be of course, there are several other techniques, you know, in business analysis. You know, we've discussed in gap analysis, we've discussed SWOT, we've discussed fishbone. There's also PESTU, right? Of course, there are other techniques, you know, in business analysis. There's process mapping. Of course, there's Jira. There's Agile. You know, talking about, you know, user stories. There's you know, several other techniques. You know, stakeholder management, risk metrics. There's several other techniques that you need to be equipped with, you know, as a business analyst. But this is a masterclass. So we're just going to, you know, like we said, just give you a sort of like an introduction, you know, into what the possible things are that you'll be learning, right? Or that you need to be equipped with, right, as for you to function effectively as a business analyst. All right, so I'm going to hand over back to Nene to take it from here. Nene, are you there?
Thank you very much. Can we give a round of applause to Seun? Thank you so much. Please, I need us to give a part. Taiwo, you are doing it already. Exactly.
Okay, we are clapping. Thank you very much.
When I said we have the best of the best, it's analytics. You see what I mean? So thank you very much, Seun. We appreciate your time. So now let's talk more about this business analysis track that Seun has given us a fantastic introduction to. Right now, sorry, just like what you've seen today, the Tenalytics program. Sorry, give me a second. Sorry, just give me a second. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I don't know what's going on with my camera. Okay, doesn't matter. Like, we can continue. Okay, yeah, as I was trying to say, just like we've seen today, we are very much a virtual learning space, right? Because we believe that when we are not restricted by space, when we are not restricted by distance, we can get learnings from the best of the best. We can build global skill sets, right? So our program is 100% online, and we have hands-on practical sessions. We believe in what we call experiential learning at Analytics, because it is not I have learned that will get you the job. It's not I have learned that will get you that promotion. It is not I have learned that you can use during interviews. It is I have done and I can do. And the only way you can tell people that you can do is by showing them what you have done. So we are very focused on experiential learning. We also provide lifetime access to all materials. You have lifetime access to materials, to recordings, to assessment, to projects, every single thing, right? Every single thing, right? We have 20 classes. So it's for a period of about 3 months, yes, for a period of about 3 months, right? And we are dedicated to help Africans enter this global tech space, right? And we're going to be talking about the salaries across the UK, US, Canada, and the likes. Now, the goal at the end of the day is for you to have projects, full-fledged projects, not just small cases here and there, but full-fledged projects that you can talk about during interviews, that you can put on your CV. Those are the things that we are focused on. And we have 100% job prospect visibility, because as most of you would know, it's not just about learning all these things. You can go to Udemy and learn it, right? But at the end of the day, how does this translate to you getting that tech job? That's the main question. So we have 100% job prospect visibility. We're packaging you to be that business analyst that companies want to employ, right? We also provide an industry relevant certification. That's a master business analyst certification. You can go on LinkedIn and just check hashtag Tenalytics, hashtag business analyst. You'll see people who have posted their CVs, posted jobs, posted things that they've gotten through the Tenalytics business analyst program, right? So this is 2 months training plus 1 month virtual internship, right? Now, like I said, we are very focused on developing ourselves to be global candidates, to be global citizens, right? Global is our watchword. We're not just looking at us building tech skills that we can use in Africa, but no, tech skills that are relevant everywhere we find ourselves, right? So we're talking about, you can check this on Indeed, check on Glassdoor, check on the websites that you know, right? Where they talk about analyst salaries, business analyst salaries, and see the average salary. So we're talking about in Canada, the average salary for a business analyst is $70,000. Doesn't that sound like good money? Doesn't that sound like good money? My people, no one is answering me.
It does. It actually does.
Exactly. In the UK, it's about 43,000. And if you're in the UK, you know the average salary for people in the UK is about £27,000. And they're saying the average salary for business analysts in the UK is around that 43,000. You can see different salary ranges. Not that you can't get higher than this. You can, but this is like the average, right? So you can check online for yourselves. We believe in giving you as it is. So the question is, how do I become a business analyst, right? We'll talk about, first of all, we give you data analytics skills. Now, you have like a crash course in data analytics. Why? Because business analysts, right? And there's one thing that really, really separates Tenalytics business analyst program from other business analyst programs, right? Tenalytics understands that as a business analyst, organizations also want you to be able to understand how to get insights from data. So Excel, Power BI, SQL for business analytics. You are going to be taught how to use these tools for business analytics. Now, we also teach you project initiation, planning, and agile essentials. You will learn software development life cycles. You learn requirements, fundamentals, elicitation, analysis, specification, and approval. You're going to learn business analysis toolkits, leveraging Agile and Scrum for projects. For anyone who has ever heard or done small research into business analysis, you know that these are very important skill sets to have, right? We also look at stakeholder analysis engagement, because as a business analyst, you'll be interacting with different people. How do you engage the different analysts? Yeah, so how do you engage different stakeholders? How do you get information from them? How do you analyze the information that you get from them? All of these things, and setting performance measures, right? With all of these things, you become a master business analyst. Now, like I said, it's not just about learning, it's about practical application. You're going to be working on live case studies. You're going to be learning from the best of the best. Sean is one of our facilitators. He's not the only facilitator for business analysts, but he's one of our facilitators. All our facilitators are fantastic. Sean is just you can see how the class went. He's just fantastic. So yeah, so that's it. So this is just an overview of the curriculum. So we have 2 timings for our trainings. We have Saturday, our trainings go 3 hours on Saturday, 3 hours on Sunday, right? But we have 2 timings. You can either take the morning class or you can take the evening class. So the morning class is for 11 a.m. West African time to 2 p.m. West African time. So now most people that take these programs are people in Europe and people in Africa, right? While we have our people that don't work weekends, right? While we have the evening class, which is 4 p.m. West African time to 7 p.m. West African time on Saturday. Now, people that take this class are those in Canada, those in the United States, or people who work in the evening, in the mornings or weekends or something. So they say, I can't make morning classes on Saturdays, so I'm going to take evening classes on Saturdays. So whichever works for you, we have 2 timings, right? So if you can meet up with the morning class, which is like the Europe African timing, or you take the evening class, which is like the North American timing, you can choose whichever one works for you. We understand that timing can be an issue, so we have provided 2 separate timings for the class. So you have to choose one class to join. You can't say, oh, today I want to attend morning class, next week I want to attend evening class. No. Now, we understand that you are very busy, so we don't take too much of your time. We take only 3 hours on Saturday and only 3 hours on Sunday. We are not going to take the whole of your weekend because we understand that you have worked Monday to Friday. You want to chill on Saturday. You want to attend the one day. Yeah. You want to attend the party. You want to party. Yeah. So we understand, and we want to make want learning to be fun. We want learning to be fun for you, right? So this is just an overview of the curriculum. You can, at the end of this session, you're going to get a recording. You're going to get the slides. You're also going to get shown slides, right? So this is just some of the projects you will be working on: Castro Technologies, Workspace Facility, Nestle Product Analysis, Online Food Delivery Service. You're going to work in different projects, right, which will help you build your skill sets. And these are things that you're able to talk about during the interview, right? Sorry, give me a second. These are things that you'll be able to talk about during the interview session. Are we together?
Yes, please.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, yes, so this is just the roadmap. Like I said, we start with Excel, Power BI, SQL, project initiation planning, agile essentials, right? Software development cycles, requirements, fundamentals, elicitation, analysis, specification and approval, business analysis, toolkit, stakeholder engagement, and stakeholder analysis and engagement, and set performance measures. And you work on your capstone project and you get a certification. For us at Analytics, it's not just about learning. It's about learning that takes you to the next level. And the thing is, you can't go to the next level until you can showcase that you have learned and you have built that skill set internally. So at the end of your project, at the end of your program with Analytics, you will work on a capstone project and present it. And after that, you will get your certificate, right? You will get your certificate, right? Yeah. So go back. So like I said, we have 100% instructor-led, virtual instructor-led classes. We have classes Saturday 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. While Sunday is 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. to I think 9 p.m. or so, right? Now, apart from our program, we have we have beautiful value-added services that are dedicated to helping you to be that professional that you need to be, right? Now, I'm going to talk about this more extensively, right? But I'm just going to give you a high-level overview of this. We have a 1-month growth internship that is dedicated to helping you get the necessary to hone your skills. Now, I've learned all of these things. You've got your certificate, woohoo, haha, you've gotten it. But we know that in the course of your training, you were learning and practicing, but you need an environment where you're just working. They are not learning per se, but you're working on real life case studies, you're working on real life projects, you're working on things that you can showcase, you can talk about during interviews, even more full-fledged projects, right? So we have this 1 month growth internship that helps you achieve that, right? We also provide CV review, LinkedIn optimization, navigating the job market, and interview preparation. I'm going to talk about that very soon, right? So like I said, it's 3 months best-in-class training program, right? Where you have 2 months live classes and 1 month internship. Now, these are some of the places that our participants have worked and are working: HSBC, Cognizant, Western Union, Amazon, Microsoft, literally NHS, across Africa, across Europe, across Canada, across America, right? Now, like I said earlier, learning the technical skills alone is not enough to get you that job, right? That is just 50% of the work, because the truth of the matter is, like we said, now almost everybody goes to school. Almost everybody has a BSc. Maybe like 20 years ago, we had the number of graduates we had was not. So it's not just about going to school. It's not just about learning these things. It's about how can you package yourself to get this job, right? So we have a set of a series of specially designed recruitment hack sessions to help position you to get that job that you want, right? Yeah, sorry, give me a second. I'm so sorry about that. Just give me a second. I don't know why I can't find the slide. Yeah, just give me a second. Oh, wow. Looks like I deleted it. I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm just going to talk more about it. I had a slide that spoke about it, but it looks like I mistakenly deleted it this earlier today. Okay, so I'm going to go back here and just talk about this here. So the first thing, one of our specially designed recruitment sessions is CV review. Most of us don't know that if we use one CV to apply for 3 jobs, there's a high chance that we might not get called on any of the jobs, or might just get called on one job, right? We need to understand that recruiters, even though they are recruited for the same job title, have different things they're looking for. That's the honest truth. So you need to play to the demand of each recruiter. And you need to understand that your CV needs to be detailed and directed to each job application. Now, how do you do that? We teach you that, or we go through that with you in our CV review session. It's not that you give us your CV and say, let us work on your CV, because if we work on your CV for you, how do you tailor it to every job? So we teach you how to rework your CV, so that at any time in the future, you've got a new job now, next year you want to change your job, your appetite and your thirst for money has increased, right? So you want to get more money. So you can apply by yourself. You don't need to come back to analytics and say, oh, I want to do that by CV. No. So we give you everything you need to be able to package yourself. We also teach you how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. Whether we like it or not, the world is a global village where recruiters in Canada can be searching for people in Ghana. That's the honest truth. That is the honest truth. So recruiters are searching for people that have this skill set across the world. So how optimize your LinkedIn? I went for a recruitment conference, not necessarily recruitment, like a people engagement conference last year in the UK, and we had the head of people and culture of Unilever Europe there, and she was talking about how LinkedIn has forever changed the way recruitment is. That before, when you put out a job advert, right, that you say, oh, we're recruiting for this role, you are only limited to the people who apply for those jobs. But now, because of LinkedIn, if the people that apply to the job for the job position don't have the right skill set, you forget that and go on LinkedIn and start doing what they call headhunting. Headhunting is where recruiters come to your DM to say, your profile looks interesting. We have this opportunity. Are you interested? We would like to have a call with you. Or can you recommend someone who will be interested? Has anybody ever witnessed it or heard someone with that? So you can see people that will take screenshots and share on their LinkedIn, on their WhatsApp status. Has anybody ever seen that? Aha. So you can see that the world is a global village. Recruiters are coming to meet you now. So how optimized is your LinkedIn profile? We teach you how to do that. We also have navigating this, not just Europe, UK market. We have designed it to go beyond the UK Europe market. We have designed it to how do you navigate a developed market, right? How do you navigate Canadian market? How do you navigate the US market? How do you navigate the Australian market? Now, to understand this, we have not just provided, we will not just bring people who have navigated these waters. You know, they said experience is the best teacher, right? But let other people's experience be your teacher. Yeah. So that's what we do. We get people who have gone through this process, who have navigated these waters. They have swum with the sharks and they've defeated the sharks, and they come to tell you how they defeated the sharks. So you don't have to go and be fighting if there's a part. You know, in Nigeria, when it's in Lagos, let me use Lagos for as an example. When it rains, we have very bad road in Lagos, right? And the drainage is very bad. So when it rains, the water covers the bad road. So when you are driving, you look at the car in front of you and you follow the car. So if the car that moves navigates on the road, because maybe that person lives around that area, the person knows the route, and the person manages to navigate the road without entering a ditch, that exact route that the person did like this, he went straight, you will follow that route in order for you not to fall into a ditch or fall into gutter and your car is higi-haga, right? So we're saying, how do you navigate the road? We bring teaching, we bring people there. And also, now, apart from all of these things, we also provide weekly mentorship sessions. And that's why I'm wondering why that my slide is not here. I'm so sorry about that. I will update it as when you are getting the recording, you get that slide with this. I'm so sorry, right? We provide weekly mentorship sessions. Now, what are our mentorship sessions about? Mentorship sessions are, like the name says, mentorship, career navigation. Because most of us, this career path that we are talking about is our first time ever. Tech. How do I do this? How do I have sales experience? I've been a retail seller. I was working in a hospital as secretary. How do I navigate and, tailor my experience to these things where you can be vulnerable? Because everybody is vulnerable. You see everybody talking their heart as well. You'll be fighting, say, I want to talk my own, right? So you are going to have an avenue weekly to talk about the issues you are facing and also learn from the issues other people are facing, right? In navigating this new career path, right? So that's what the mentorship session is about. Now, our goal is for you to get these jobs, get these tech jobs. That's our goal in analytics. It's not at the end of when you get the job, when you get the promotion, when you get it's not analytics name, it's not Nene's name, it's not Shion's name. Nene is working at work, Shion is working his work, right? So at the end of the day, it is you. So in order to help you, apart from all these recruitment hack sessions that we have CV, LinkedIn, navigating job market, mentorship session, blah, 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 we also have interview preparation. We say that as much as we want you to get jobs, and we have given you the skill set, we have done your CV for you, and tell you apply. This apply. When you get selected for interviews, reach out to us, schedule an interview preparation session so that we can get job offers. Our joy is when participants call us, Analytics, I've gotten an offer. Someone reached out to me last week. I think someone reached out to me last week. The person participated in our program, I think earlier in the year. The person just ended the program, and the person actually, it was her sister that paid for her because the lady just finished school. She just finished school from Federal University, and there's a delay before people go for NYC. So her sister wanted her to do something, right? So I think I can't remember what she studied, right? But it doesn't have anything to do with tech. So her sister said her sister paid for her. And she literally just got called. She just finished camp. She has gotten a tech job for NYC. And she was so excited. She was so happy. She was so this. She was so that literally without analytics, she doesn't even know what she would have been doing for NYC. So what this shows is that wherever on the scale you are, you don't have any skill sets, you are just finishing, you have skill set that can be tailored wherever on the skill you are, Tenalytics is here for you. So we have interview preparation sessions that help you. Now, like I said, this is where some of our participants have worked. Now, apart from you, we understand there's not everybody that wants to do corporate job, right? It's not everybody that wants to do 9 to 5. It's not everybody that wants to do 8 to 4 or 10 to 5 to 6. People have different hours, right? We understand that people want to work as freelancers. They said the goal is to earn foreign currency and spend local currency, or to earn foreign currency in addition to your own 9 to 5, right? However you want to be. We also provide freelancer optimization, right? We also provide freelancer optimization sessions using Upwork, right? Using Upwork where you can get freelance jobs. And the beautiful thing is that with your training in Tenalytics, you can apply for both and just the entry-level data analytics job because of the crash program you have on data analytics, as well as business analyst jobs, right? So these are some of the sites we talk about getting remote jobs and all. So apart from Upwork where you get freelancer, there are also other job sites that you can just search. You can just search on, right? So these are just some of them. Now, talking about our growth internship, like I said, 1 month growth internship. 1 month growth internship where you work for it. You have I think you have a couple of projects that you work on through the 1 month so that you can talk about these things. When you say, tell me about a time when you worked on a project, you're going to work in teams. Tell me about a time when you worked on a project that was this and this and that. And you can use your case study. You told them I worked on a real life case study during your project where on a project with Tenalytics. Right, you told you worked on a project with Tenalytics where you did this and this and this and that. You interacted, you worked with your team members, interacted with, and Tenalytics will vouch for you. We also provide recommendation letters. It's not there. We also provide recommendation letters, right? We provide recommendation letters and reference letters because sometimes you just need someone to vouch for you. So we tell you, as far as our students, use our name. Use our name to defend your tech career and we will defend you. Yes. So we say that. Now, our next cohort is 7th of October, 2023. 7th of October, 2023. I think that's in 2 weeks' time. Next, upper Saturday, I believe so. Yeah, should be. Yeah. So 7th of October. And the price for this program is 320,000, which is also 400 pounds, right? However, because you're in this masterclass, we have an early bird discount. Now, this discount is for the first 20 participants that pay after this masterclass. The first 20 participants that pay for business analysis after this masterclass, right? Now, instead of paying 400 pounds, you pay 300 pounds. Instead of paying 320,000, you pay 270,000, right? And the USD and Canadian dollars. Now, get the kick. You don't have to pay this 270,000 now. You can make a deposit of 180,000 to secure your spot and pay this 90,000 1 month into the program. So make a payment now and make 90,000 next month, right? So that is how we have designed. And these are the account details. So Ubong is going to send this link, right? We have this link. Now, this link, this main stack enroll me link for Tenalytics is the link where you can get all the information about enrolling with Tenalytics. Just give me a second. I'm trying to load the page. Yeah, so you can see access to all our program brochures, right? If you want to understand business analysis some more, you can look at there, right? Then you can upload your receipts here. It's very important for you that when you make payments, you upload your receipts here. This is for initial full payments, first timers, and this is for balance. When you pay the 90,000, you fill this. So this is only applicable to current students, right? So when you fill this when you pay your 90,000 balance. Now, we have different payments. You have card payments. We have card payment Naira, card payment non-Naira, right? And we have direct transfers. We accept direct transfers from UK and Nigeria, right? But if you're in Canada, US, you can pay through PayPal, non-Naira payments. PayPal, there's GBP PayPal, there's Canadian PayPal, right? Now, I want to show you something about filling the form. It is important that you fill the form. You fill your email, your name, this email must be a Gmail because this is the Gmail that you will be used that will be used to give you access to all Tenalytics programs. You use the email that we use to add to the Tenalytics classroom, that you will use to add to join the mentorship sessions, the classes, every live class. This is the email. So you need to put the right email, because I know that most of us, you can, Sarah, you can pay with Paystack. Paystack is not supposed to be Naira alone. It's supposed to be non-African payment. So you can pay Paystack here for, it's not just Naira, Ghanaian, South African, you can pay there, right? So gender, you say, is it initial payment, full payment, or balance payment? Now, balance payment is initial payment, right? Forget the balance payment there. Now, we have Tenalytics terms and conditions. You can click on it to look at it, but you must agree to our Tenalytics terms and conditions, right? Next, when did you make your payment? What was the mode of payment? Was it transfer, PayPal, Paystack, or GBP transfer? You upload your receipt, and this must be a picture. This must be a picture. Now, what program did you fill for? Business analysis. Next, when you say business analysis, it's going to ask you, what is your preferred time slot for Saturday's class? Are you interested in morning class, or you're interested in evening class? I'm going to say I'm interested in evening class. Next, what cohort do you intend starting? You can pay for October or November, right? You put your WhatsApp number so that it can be added into the WhatsApp group chat, right? Your location, and how do you find about Tenalytics, and make sure you click submit. When you do this, you receive an email that this form has been filled, and that within 72 hours, your payment will be confirmed, and you will receive a welcome kit from Tenalytics, right? So that is that. So this is all you need to know about payment. So Sarah, so when you click on Paystack, right? When you click on Paystack, it will show you it will take the equivalent from your account, right? It has the exchange rate already. So I hope that works for you. So just click on Paystack and see it. You'll see it. Just click on that link. Ubong, please, yes, Ubong has sent it on the group chat, on Zoom chat. Fantastic. We have 2 participants that would love to give their feedback, right? Damilola Adeosun and Omolara Idowu. Are you here with us?
Yes, please.
Okay, fantastic. Hi, Omolara. Nice to have you here. Is it possible for you to turn on your video? Let me spotlight you. Okay, fantastic. Hi, Omolara. Good.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you so much for joining us. Please just tell us your cohort, and tell us your cohort. Talk about your Tenalytics experience. The floor is yours.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Omolara Idowu. My cohort is currently the BA cohort, July, I think, July 2023. So we're still in, I think should be this like the second month now. So I'm going to talk briefly about why business analysis, maybe so that you can understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. My background is actually a finance professional role, so I've done quite a lot in that field. So I wanted to kind of pivot because I do a lot of consulting as well. So I needed to get some additional skills to be able to ensure that I'd be able to consult for organizations and all that. And in one of the training that I did, I got to know a bit about business analysis. And of course, that prompted me into kind of finding out more information about business analysis and how I can probably upskill myself what I need to be able to do that. So in the process of searching for that, I came across Tenalytics. I follow them on Instagram page and on the Facebook. And of course, I was able to listen to what they do, and I was actually quite impressed in the role that they played supporting Black immigrants, in getting them and also helping them to upskill into the tech space. Of course, by virtue of my role, initially I thought it was going to be a bit challenging to be able to do that since I have little or no background in tech. But the experience I had with the BA program that I've done for the past 2-3 months now, at least maybe to let me know that, I've been able to upskill my analysis skill. We did a lot of dashboard. I was taught around the Power BI, Power BI, Power Query. We actually went around building some cases on SQL. Currently now we are doing some business analysis related role. We are working on the process flow charts, stream lanes and all that. So to me, it was quite very interesting experience, which I was very, of course, able to relate with by virtue of what I do, by virtue of my consulting role. I provide advisory services to clients. So I saw that as a big opportunity for me to even to add on. So the experience has been very robust, has been very rich. The instructors has been very, very knowledgeable. They are also very patient, try to ensure they get us all along together. In a station whereby you have people asking so many multiple questions. The guy that took us the SQL was such that he was really so patient with us. I have to go back to just to ensure we really do follow. It was quite an interesting thing, and I actually enjoy the how do you call it, the real life thoughts that they bring to it. The fact that after even your experience, they're able to review you, give you a kind of a chat around what you should be doing, how you can access either the job market, how you can begin to consult on the freelance and all that. To me was quite interesting. And why I'm actually working through that part is because currently I have a program I'm running in Canada. So I saw that as an opportunity to reskill myself, upskill myself, reposition myself for the future, so to speak. So it's been a very great journey, and I want to really thank Analytics for all their support, for what they are doing for the Blacks, if I may use the word, and actually creating that visibility for them, and yeah, it's been a wonderful journey for me, and I can proudly say I would recommend Analytics at any time to anybody who wants to reskill or pivot into tech space.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was amazing. Thank you very much. I don't know, are you sharing your slides or anything or not? Are you sharing your screen for anything?
Unless I have to go and open up now.
No, there's no problem. If you didn't plan on that, that's fine. Thank you so much, Omolara. It's been a pleasure having you here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Damilola, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. I don't know if you can hear me.
Okay, I can hear you perfectly. I don't, although it's a bit faint, but I can hear you. Is it possible for you to increase the volume of your voice?
I don't know if it's my. Can you hear me now?
Fantastic. Is
Okay.
it possible for you to also turn on your video?
No.
Okay, that's fine. If it's not possible, that's fine. At least we can see your fine face.
Thank you.
Okay, please go ahead.
All right. Hello everybody. My name is Damilola. I'm from I think the August cohort. Sometimes I don't know. I'm more focused on the learning, to be honest. I don't ever remember if I'm August or July cohorts, but yes, it's been a very, will I say, good experience for me so far. Like I have learned so much. So I have a science background. I studied biochemistry, and well, I've been working in the financial industry for like the past, I think 4 or 5 years before moving to Canada. And yes, I'm doing a program here in Canada, but I also needed to find a way to also upskill and also break into the global job market, because it's not easy here, especially for immigrants, right? And it's important for us to, gain all the necessary skills. They are more passionate about the skills you have, the hands-on experience you have here, than just carrying those degrees up and down and not being able to do anything with them, basically. So yes, that was one of the reasons I joined Analytics to see if I could upskill and also, get a better job. And yes, because I have done user experience analysis in the past, so it was easy for me to just pick business analysis because they are very similar. And it's been great. I've learned a lot more. Some of the tools that I've not been using before, like Power BI, SQL, building dashboards. I didn't even know you could build dashboards on Excel before. I mean, I used to do all of that, or maybe do presentations or maybe PowerPoints, but Excel has a lot of other functions that a lot of people probably don't know. And I've been able to learn that. I've been able to learn Power BI, SQL in just a few weeks. Although the important thing apart from that is also like continuous practicing. So it's not like you just learn and also just drop it. So analytics will do their parts with giving you the basics and all the necessary skills, teaching you how to, write business requirement documentation, business cases, and all of that. But it's also important for you to put in the work and keep practicing. Most times when we're in class, in fact, I'm probably working or something, but I always make sure that I go back to listen to the videos and try to practice and practice. It's been a very eye-opening and learning experience. I especially also like the CV review sessions and the mentorship sessions that we get like every Thursdays and Fridays. That has really come a long way in, rebuilding my LinkedIn profile, rebuilding my resume, getting it looked at or reviewed by somebody. And honestly, it's been great. And I think it's totally worth it to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Damilola. That was amazing. So I think Damilola and Omlara. Damilola is August, and I think Omlara mentioned, she mentioned July. July, fantastic. So thank you very much. So I'm going to continue sharing my screen now. Thank you very much for that. So don't worry, they were once in masterclass like this, and now they are talking about their experience. So you don't know whether the next masterclass it's you that will be testifying about your experience with analytics, right? So we're just going to talk about a couple of other people, and these are just a few people that we have on my screen. You can actually go on LinkedIn and search for yourself, right? I believe in check and verify. They say go and verify. I go on LinkedIn. At least LinkedIn, everybody's profile is on LinkedIn, right? Go and check business analyst profile for Tenalytics. Go and check how they sell themselves, how they repackage themselves, how they are learning, things they are learning, what they are talking about, right? So we have Benga, right, who got a job in Poland after training with us. For those of us who have ever heard about Poland, you know that the Poland work environment is not as open as UK, US, Canada, right? Now, this guy didn't just get one offer, and that's what I love. I mean, I love multiple offers, right? I won't lie to you. I like because multiple offers is, when you have option, you can bragado, like, please, I want more money, or you can choose the one that is the best for you, right? Maybe best working hours or whatever, right? Best package, right? Right. So he got 4 offers. So he got an offer and said, additionally, I got 3 more offers, right? So those are the things that when you get the training, just like what Damilola said, Tenalytics will give you back to back. Everything I've said here today, it is not whitewash. Believe you me, it is not whitewash. Whatever we say we're going to do, we are going to do it. We won't do more. We're always looking for how we can add more value. What extra thing can we do? Things like that, right? So this is Benga. Then we have Olugbemi, who got a job as a business data analyst in Canada. Right? We have Rafiat, who got a business analyst position with post office in the UK. We have Utsman, who got a job as a business intelligence officer in NHS UK. We have Emeka, who got a job as a digital analyst with Western Union. Right? We have other testimonials from people here. You can click on the videos here to watch it. You're going to get this slide, so you can click here and to hyperlink you to where the videos are located, right? And you can also read from Ayoade, who got a job in the UK less than a month after completing our training programs. And you can also watch other testimonials here, right? You can also see all of this. So literally, Tenalytics means what we say. We are very, very dedicated to this. I was able to get the slide that I wanted to talk about. So just like I said, the CV review, LinkedIn optimization, Upwork optimization, navigating the job market. We provide reference letters, provide job and interview preparation. We have 7 weeks mentorship sessions, right? We have weekly mentorship sessions Wednesday evening and on-the-job support. We provide on-the-job, we provide you direction, provide you guidance as much as we can to help you get that job and also maintain that job, right? So yeah, so like I said, the price is 320,000 naira, which is £400. While we are providing a first and early bird discount from this particular masterclass, right? 20 people, instead of paying £400, you pay £300, and you can pay in installments, where you pay this first installment now. Now, for those of us who are saying, oh, I don't know the exchange rate, maybe you're not in Nigeria, you're not in Canada, you're not in the US, right? You can easily click on this link, main stack link. I clicked on it earlier. I'm going to pop it up again so you can see it. I clicked on it earlier, right? Sorry, give me a second. When you click on the main stack link, this Enroll to Analytics, you would see it. I'm going to take questions now. So if you have questions, you can raise up your hand. You would see, I'm coming. I just want this link to open. You will see the account details, right? And it converts automatically for you, which based on your home currency. So that's for if you're in Africa, please use Paystack. If you're not in Africa, please use PayPal, right? So yeah, so this is like African card payments, right? It converts it to Naira from your currency, and this is for GBP, and we have Canadian PayPal. So if you're using USD, you can use any of them to work also. Any question? Any questions so far? Can I show you what the certificate looks like? Let me go on LinkedIn and show you. You can actually just go on LinkedIn and search for yourself, right? You can go on LinkedIn and search for yourself. People post their certificates on LinkedIn every day. Right. Any other question? Any other question? I don't know why my browser is. Any other question? Okay, fantastic. My LinkedIn has opened.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay, so I want to understand the payment option. So are you
Yes.
saying that if I pay, like, today is 22nd, if I pay like 180,000 tomorrow, which is 23rd, so I have like a month into the program to pay the installment, that's like the 23rd of October after the class has even started?
No, but when the class starts,
7th.
yeah, so even though the class starts 7th, the balance payment must be paid before the end of November.
Okay.
Yeah, so as I said, within a month into the program, so it must be paid before the end of November.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? So you make payments now. I said November, sorry. October, I meant October, sorry. So you make payment now for sorry. You make payment now for the first installment and you make balance payment next month. I hope that answers you.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Any other question? Any question?
Okay, some of us has paid as far back as 3 weeks ago, thereabouts.
Okay.
We only got a confirmation mail. Nothing has been sent to our mailbox.
Sorry, what's your name? Let me check. Because you
check
said
my
3 weeks
name.
ago.
Yes.
That's almost impossible.
Okay, check.
What's your name, please?
Check my name on the dashboard.
Abdurazak, business analyst. Sorry. Abdurazak Kuranga. You selected morning class. Okay, it's true. I'm not seeing sent here. Oh wow. I'm actually not seeing that it has been sent for you. So I'm going to get back to the team and find out why they've not sent it to you. Apologies about that. So you'll get it this week. You'll get it this latest by Monday. You get it. Is that fine, Abdurazak? But your discount has been noted and all.
It's fine. It's okay.
I can see that you got the early bird discount from the last master class, right? So it has been noted.
It's okay.
Yeah, apologies once again. So any other question? Any other question? No one has a question for me. I think someone sent something in the chat room. So you can check, you can send it, you can check our Instagram and register for any other masterclass you want, right? So 10 Analytics Instagram, or you can send a message to these numbers and tell them that you're interested in the other masterclasses, and you provided information as to you provided information as to the other masterclasses. We like for you to get as much information as possible, right? Because if you select that this is the program that you want to do, you must be ready to put in your all, because we are going to put in our all, right? You must be ready to put in your all to get you, just like what Adiola said. Any guidelines to choose between so when you can make payment and indicate that you are yet to choose. Give me a second, I'll show you. We have what we call clarity sessions. We have what we call clarity sessions. I'm coming, I think I've seen. Okay, so this is someone who just completed our program. Someone asked about the certificate. So this is someone who just completed our program, Queen. This was 2 days ago. Someone asked for a certificate and I said she go on LinkedIn. So you can see you can get it on LinkedIn. Queen Ajakai, she said, I'm thrilled to announce that I've successfully completed business analysis program from Analytics. Over the past few months, I have gained skills in data visualization, predictive modeling, and database administration. I'm excited to use my new skills to make data-driven decisions and connect with other professionals in the field. Let's embrace the opportunities of a data-driven future together. Business analysis. So this is the certificate. This is the certificate that you get. Right? So she just posted that 2 days ago. Okay. Let me show you. I want to show you the main stack link. Give me a second for you to see when you make, because the programs are all the same price. So if you're interested in whether I should pay for business analysis or data analytics, let me show you. So when you are choosing the cohorts, when you are choosing the program here, you will select I need to speak with a professional. Can you see that? Sarah, can you hear me? I hope you can hear. Okay, fantastic. You select I need to speak with a professional and you'll be provided the link to our clarity session. So, and if you're interested in the clarity session, you can send a message to this WhatsApp number and tell them they're interested in the clarity session. We provide where you can ask questions and have like conversations around, okay, what should you choose? We don't force people to choose any program because you must be ready to put in your efforts to work hard to get the skill set, because we will give it to you back to back. We are not whitewashing. Every single thing we've said we are going to do, we are going to do it, right? So, any other question? Any other question? Any other question? Are we good to go? So are you saying that I'm expecting to see all of you in the first class 7th of October? 7th of October, yeah, next 2 weekends. Yeah. Next 2 weeks. Yes, fantastic. So I'm hopeful that you take advantage of the early bird discount and make payments. Remember, you can pay in 2 installments. You can pay in 2 installments. Right. Thank you very much, everyone. You make sure you fill the attendance, you get the recording, you get the slides, you get every single thing. Thank you very much, everyone. So Dale, you asked as the beginner. I won't advise which one for you to start. You need to make that decision yourself. So you need to ask questions based on your experience, based on every single thing. So send a message to this number, to any of these numbers. These 2 are 10 Analytics WhatsApp numbers, and tell them that you want to attend the clarity session. Or if you're interested that you are willing to make payment to get hold of the early bird discount, make payment and indicate I need to speak with a professional. Data analytics, business analysis is exactly the same price. So make payment and indicate I need to speak with a professional. So I hope that answers your question. Most likely. That's for, okay, innocent, yeah. Yeah, so most likely, right? So thank you very much, everyone. Any other question? If you have a question before I close the door, you can raise up your hand. Any other question? Any other question? Okay, fantastic. Looks like we have come to the end of today's session. Thank you very much. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate your time with us. See you at the first day of the class. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes, bye. No one's telling me bye-bye. You tell me bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Amen.